This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, hello there, Jeff Cutter, welcome you to another sports catastrophe on this day. And on this day, August the 5th, 2001, the greatest Major League Baseball comeback of all time had happened. It was a good time to be a Seattle Mariners fan, as they were hot, very hot, heading into the All-Star break. Seattle Mariners were a very strong team at that time. The Mariners were headed into their game against the Cleveland Indians on top of the American League. They were 80-30, which was amazing. It was like, what a winning percentage of over 700. In fact, headed into the game, they were actually 13 games above the second best team in the American League. That was the New York Yankees. So times were tough if you were a Yankee fan, because now you had to deal with a team like the Seattle Mariners being the best team in the American League. The best team in the National League were the Chicago Cubs, with Atlanta coming in close second. But man, the Cubs choked in 2001, I guess. Yeah. So anyway, the Seattle Mariners were coming into their game against Cleveland. Cleveland wasn't that bad either. Cleveland was actually 13 games above 500. And we're fighting the Minnesota Twins, who were scheduled to be contracted because the baseball wanted to get rid of two teams. That would be the Twins and the Expos. But once the Twins were revealed to be one of those contracted teams, the fans wouldn't have it. And there was a court case, and basically the Twins were not allowed to be contracted, which meant Montreal was not contracted, which was good. Unfortunately for Montreal, their dreams would come crashing down. So Seattle was 80-30 coming into this Sunday night game at 8 o'clock. John Miller was in the booth with Rick Sutcliffe. Usually Joe Morgan would accompany John Miller into the booth. But because Joe Morgan was doing something with the Baseball Hall of Fame at Cooperstown, he wasn't there. So Rick Sutcliffe came by. So the Indians were no slouches either, as I said. So this Sunday night game on ESPN would be a classic, going 4 hours. Going to the night. The starting lineups were thus. The Mariners started Ichiro Suzuki in right field, the legendary rookie from Japan. Second baseman Mark Blackwell, former Texas All-Star. Edgar Martinez at DH. Well, where else would you put Edgar Martinez? John Oldroyd at first base, former Blue Jay and Met star. Al Martin in left field. I don't really know about Al Martin. Mike Cameron in center field. One of the best acquisitions for the Mariners in a while. Carlos Guillen at shortstop. He would soon become a decent Tigers shortstop. David Bell at third base. Tom Lampkin behind the plate. And Aaron Seeley, S-E-L-E, to start. Cleveland countered with Kenny Lofton, the legendary Kenny Lofton, in center field in his third territory with the Indians. Omar Vizquel at short. Roberto Alomar with his number 12, that I believe his banner was taken down in Toronto. I don't remember because of his allegations and all that. At second base. Juan Gonzalez, who Cleveland pilfered off Detroit, was at DH. Jim Thome at first base. Ellis Burks, who was getting through the twilight of his career, in left field. Marty Cordova in right field, the man who in 2000 for the Blue Jays hit a grand slam while I was watching a game live at the Skydome against the Mets. Travis Fryman at third base, Einar Diaz at catcher, and Dave Burba at pitcher. So it was a state of affairs. The Indians came out quickly with 4 runs in the second inning. Cameron with an RBI double, Tom Lampkin with an RBI double, and Ichiro with a 2 RBI single. Then the Mariners, off of Mike Bassick, would pounce. 8 runs in the third inning. Amazing. Mike Cameron hit a double that scored Edgar and Olerud. Carlos Guillen would score a 2 RBI single. Ichiro would hit a fly ball for a sac fly. Edgar Martinez would reach on an error, scoring Bell and Lampkin. And John Olerud would get an RBI single. So that was all. 12-0. Mariners were looking good and all that. But the Indians came back slowly but surely. Bottom of the fourth, it was 12-2 after Jim Thome hit a 2-run home run. So after four, it's 12-2. Ellis Burks gets replaced in the Cleveland lineup by Russell Brandon. And Ed Sprague, I forgot he played for the 2001 Mariners, but Ed Sprague replaced John Olerud in the lineup and would actually have an RBI single. So would Al Martin. So the Mariners got their 12-run lead back at 14-2. Ed Sprague would play first base, which was unusual. The Indians, by the sixth inning, decided to make a change. Jobert Cabrera would play second base instead of Alomar. Russell Brandon would move from left to third, and to put Will Cordero into the game for the Indians over Travis Fryman. The the Mariners in the sixth went down easily. And then in the bottom of the sixth, the Mariners decided to replace Ichiro with Charles Gibson, Gipson. And the Indians decided to pinch hit for Juan Gonzalez by putting Eddie Tomlinson, who was a decent catcher. But anyway, fortunately for the Mariners, the Indians went down 1-2-3. Stan Javier would come in the seventh inning to play DH for Edgar Martinez. Mariners go down 1-2-3. Then Russell Brandon hits a home run to make it 14-3. No big deal. And then after Seeley walked the bases loaded, John Halama the Llama, comes in and pitches. But Jobert Cabrera hit a 2 RBI single to make it 14-5. Mariners go down easily in the top of the eighth, and then in the bottom of the eighth, with Halama still on the mound, Jim Thome touched him up for a home run. So did Marty Cordova, 2-run shot. So it was 14-8. And then just when you think things were huge, the Indians were on a roll. Norm Charlton came in for Halama to pitch. He was a decent reliever back in the 90s. Sure enough, Omar Vizquel touched him up for an RBI double to make it 14-9. Thankfully, though, the Mariners got 2 key outs. Rich Rodriguez would pitch for the Indians and manages to get a 1-2-3 inning, getting rid of Lampkin, Gibson, and McLemore. So it's the bottom of the ninth, 14-9. Eddie Tomlinson hit a single. Jim Thome flew out to right. And Russell Brandon struck out. So basically, it was going to be Mariners were 1 out away from winning the game, 14-9. But Marty Cordova on a 1-0 pitch hit a double to put him to second and Dallas and Tomlinson the third. So the great Jeff Nelson decides to come in and walks Will Cordero. Bases are loaded for Einar Diaz, and he hit a single to score Tomlinson and Cordova, 14-11. So, of course, Seattle decides to use their closer, Kasasaki, because, it's his closer. He gives up a single to Kenny Lofton to make the bases loaded for Omar Vizquel, who hit a nice triple that actually should not have been a triple at all. But, of course, the bases were cleared, it was tied, and then Jobert Cabrera grounded out. The reason why I say it should not have been a triple was because they played the right fielder Gibson too far inwards. And basically, because he was playing too far in, the ball went past him into the wall. So Bob Wickman comes in for the Indians in the top of the 10th and just gives up a single to Al Martin, but basically the Mariners did nothing. Arthur Rhodes would come in for the Mariners to pitch, and he faced a tough situation. But thankfully, though, Will Cordero struck out swinging. In the top of the 11th, John Rocker, yes, that John Rocker, decides to come in and pitch. Brett Boone comes into the game, pitch hitting for Cam Lampkin, and struck out swinging. Brett frickin' Boone was an icon in 2001 for the Mariners. I guess maybe it was because of rest, but he should have come in as a pitcher maybe the 6th or 7th inning. So in the bottom of the 11th, the Mariners make some moves. Jose Paglia comes in to pitch. Dan Wilson is now catcher, replacing Al Martin, who's out of the game. Brett Boone moves to second base. Mark McLemore moves to left field, and Charles Gibson goes back to right field. Einar Diaz pops as a pop fly, one out. And then Kenny Lofton singles, Omar Vizquel singles, and then Gilbert Cabrera, the guy who came in for Robbie Alomar, hit a single to win the game. It was shocking how the Indians would win the game down 14-2 and freaking win 15-14. It took extra innings. But yeah, that's amazing. So hard to believe that the Mariners would choke like that. Mariners would still be the best team in the American League with, guess this, 116 wins. So if the Mariners had won that game against Cleveland, would they have hit 117 wins? Probably not. But because you got to remember that anything could have happened in August, September. They could have probably just coasted to the line. But yeah, the Mariners would unfortunately lose the ALCS to the New York Yankees. Well, the Yankees had basically the remnants of 9/11 in their heads, and basically everyone was cheering for the Yankees over the Mariners, except if you were in the Western United States. Cleveland would not make the playoffs. I can't remember because it was Yankees, Oakland, Seattle. Yeah, Seattle took care of. Seattle and Cleveland would actually bump heads, as Cleveland did win the division that year. So Seattle and Cleveland would bump heads. Cleveland would force a winner take all game, which the Mariners could have choked, and Cleveland would have went to the ALCS. But Seattle ended up going to the LCS, and of course, as I said, they lost to Seattle. So there. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.